What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having an amazing day. As always, I'm here to talk about, is Donald Trump the reality show president? This is a major talking point. Everybody says the White House, it's a reality show. It's horrible. It's worse than it's ever been. It's a complete joke. The U.S. is a joke. Trump's a joke. America's a joke. And the White House is a reality show. So let's talk about it. Let's wait about a minute more for people to come into the live stream. Thank you guys for joining. I'm going to try to pin a post real quick if I can. Let's see. Got it. Let's wait about a minute for people to come in. But the title and the topic today is Donald Trump a reality show president? In the meantime, we're going to listen to my 2018 banger, Bob Ross, available on all platforms. You dig? Bob Ross, you will never see me tripping. Got the vision, I don't even need assistance. Bob Ross, all I do is chill. My life is a thrill, for real. Bob Ross, I be too calm for the drama. You don't want to cause a problem, I'll solve it. Bob Ross, all I do is win. Don't mess with the king, for real. I do an illustration, I'm the illest friend. Feel amazement, got no deal, I'm taking every bill I'm making. Building payments, shit like Bob Ross. When you feel the winds and call the paper, this ain't Picasso, flow this tutorial. So learn something if you... Alright, that's good enough. That's Bob Ross by Anomaly, A-N-0. The O is always a zero. If you're searching for me, if you don't remember the zero, you're out of luck. That's just the way the cards fell. I didn't want to get sued by a band named Anomaly, so I put the zero in there, and I'm not mad at it. So A-N-0, M-A-L-Y, Bob Ross. That's available everywhere music is streamed. But what I'm here today is not to talk about that song, which is a banger, potentially the best song ever made in the last 10 years. That's highly debatable. But all jokes aside, is Donald Trump the reality show president? Because I start hearing this more and more and more. I was in a panel that'll be online soon. I had a debate about Trump's America, and that was one of the main topics, and it got me thinking. I've been hearing everybody say it. The White House is a reality show. First off, before I even get into that, I want to talk about Donald Trump's actual reality show and how it's been gravely misrepresented in the media. I felt this way even before I liked Donald Trump. Like I said during the election, I wasn't feeling his rhetoric. There was a lot of negative press around him. I wasn't feeling his style. But the reality show that he was on, just before I get into is the White House reality show, The Apprentice. Now, the hater, the pessimist, the person who hates Trump would say, the Apprentice is a terrible reality show. It's just a trashy reality show. He's a Kardashian or whatever. But I love The Apprentice growing up in it. Actually, coming from a household where, my family was not very business oriented. It was just not their choice of occupation, which is fine. God bless my parents. Thank you guys so much. I love you. But he taught me business. So the Apprentice was not just a reality show. Everybody wants to say, oh, he's just a reality show TV star. First of all, he's a businessman before that. He does a lot of stuff. But The Apprentice is the furthest thing from a trashy reality show. It's an entrepreneur show, and it taught millions of kids like myself who might not come from families who are very business savvy, taught us entrepreneurship. That got me excited in entrepreneurship more than school, and it also paved the way, ironically, for shows like Shark Tank. Mark Cuban, the irony of that is that Mark Cuban hates Donald Trump so much, and he's like, blah, 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 but his whole life is based around Donald Trump. Not his whole life, but his show Shark Tank is a complete, copy pretty much of the platform that Donald Trump made with The Apprentice. So it's like, why are you hating the guy that you pretty much copied to success on television? So first off, that reality show is one of the more positive reality shows that has aired. So I think people misconstrue that, and I've always wanted to say that. I've been saying that, just to be honest, even before I liked him. But is the White House a reality show? Let's get into what a reality show actually is, because I think a lot of people who watch reality shows don't even understand what a reality show is. A reality show is a television show with people who are pretty much not actors, or they're, CD list actors. Maybe they're rappers' girlfriends. Maybe they're rappers like Flava Flav. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're moms and, women from Beverly Hills. Maybe they're midgets or dwarfs, whatever the proper name is. And maybe they're, there's all sorts of reality shows now. But the whole premise of a reality show is you get people who aren't really actors and you put them in these scenarios and make it seem realer. But the truth about the reality show, before I even get into the White House, is reality shows, spoiler alert, I'm sorry if I'm going to ruin somebody's illusion today. Reality shows aren't real either. So reality shows are not real. I'm so sorry. They're scripted. They're very, very, very fake. Everything about them is very far from real. It's just trashier entertainment. It's like lazier scripts and lazier, filming and stuff. So it's such a win for these production companies. Like, wow, we can make 10 times as much money and put in 10 times less effort. It's not really realer. There's not much about it that's real. It's very, very scripted, and reality shows are very, very fake. So let's get to, a lot of the news sources who are saying Trump's White House is a reality show. And we'll talk about his tweets. We'll talk about his ridiculousness. I'm not here to be biased. I'm not here to, choose sides. I'm just going to tell you the truth that, unfortunately, people have too much ego. Maybe they're too stubborn. Maybe they're too hateful. Maybe they're too dishonest. Maybe that's just how they feel. I don't know. I'm not inside their head. But, I'm just here to spit the truth. Is Donald Trump's White House a reality show? Well, let's see. Who are the news sources that are saying that Donald Trump's White House is a reality show? It's all the ones that don't like him. All the news sources that support Trump, they're not saying Trump's White House is a reality show. It is the CNN especially. They harp on that. CNN, it's a reality show. It's a reality show. MSNBC says it's a reality show. Probably ABC, CBS, a little Washington Post, New York Times, Vox. All of the news sources that don't like him, those are the ones that are saying it's a reality show. And the irony of that is they're the ones that are giving reality show coverage. So is that all that's happening in the world? Are there wars? Is there a huge Yemeni struggle where Yemen is being attacked by Saudi Arabia, funded by us, and then they're shooting weapons into Saudi Arabia, and then Syria, there's a proxy war between Russia and Iran, and all this stuff's going on in the world. It's all happening. The problem is that, and I'm not saying that Fox does and all the Trump-loving organizations do, but they don't cover the truth. So they make trashy Kardashian-style reality show coverage. People buy into it. They buy into this illusion, just like they buy into reality shows or whatever, they're trying to really sell you. So people buy into the reality show coverage. They think the White House is a reality show because it's different than normal. Usually they have a nice puppet politician who sits there, speaks perfect. You have all the news sources covering for that person. They start wars. People are dying. You know what I'm saying? The education's going down. Healthcare's going down. Every aspect of America is declining. But nobody cares because they don't tell you to care. They don't tell you that it's happening. So in the, broadcast that is the mainstream media and the tech companies that have so much control over people's mind and perception on the world, they'll say, no, it's not a reality show. Now it's nothing weird's going on here. There's no scandals. There's no nothing. It's good. But Trump gets in and he's definitely more boisterous. He's, hold on one more second, real quick. Be right. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I thought my window was open and people were like, I don't really care, but I didn't want to, be too loud for my neighbors. I don't want to make it too real for them. I'm sure they might be watching the Kardashians or something. But now that Trump is in, he's a little more boisterous. There's definitely some scandal going on. There's some mix-ups, but the optimist, the person who's telling you the truth might say, well, yes, he's a little bit crazier. There is stuff. He is firing people, but people need to be fired. These intelligence communities and this, this tight-knit group was too tight-knit. You know what I'm saying? They're doing so much stuff. They never get held accountable. You never see someone get fired or resign because they're untouchable. They're above the law. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Shaking up the mainstream media, that's what I would say. Regardless of how I felt about him, I say it's not a terrible thing. It's not, it's not the worst thing in the world. But the funny part about it is that it's the news stations that are giving you trashy, like CNN, in my opinion, is equivalent to MTV in the sense of MTV used to do music. Okay, they used to do music television, MTV, music television. They found out that trashy reality television sells more, and it does. It's not the politicians' fault. It's not Donald Trump's fault. It's our fault as a society that we buy it. They only sell to us what we buy. So if you keep buying it, of course they're going to keep selling it. But MTV realized, Flavor of Love and, New York or whatever, the Flavor of Love's girl that had her own show, these are making more money than music now. Music, television, music videos, they don't make that much money, excuse me. So they just sold out. And now MTV, you can't even find music on there anymore. They do reality show. CNN is the same exact thing. They realized, they were boring like C-SPAN, a little bit less boring, but they were pretty boring. Like 5 years ago, all they talked about was ISIS. And then, ISIS is getting defeated. Now they don't want to talk about it because they're like, oh, shoot, we've been lying about everything. And, now nothing we say matters. But they went the same route as MTV, and they said, well, if trashy reality sells, people, Stormy Daniels' 60 Minutes, there's millions of women and children being slaughtered, raped, organ harvesting, and all sorts of proxy wars. And, Eastern Ghouta, they're shooting missiles into a nice little city in Damascus where people are dying and, being threatened. But I guess that doesn't sell. The truth doesn't sell. Actual things that help women and children and kids doesn't sell as well. People like the fake illusion, so they went the route of, well, let's blow everything that Donald Trump says out of proportion. If he wants to turn a fence into a wall, we're going to say it's racist and sexist. If he doesn't like Don Lemon and Maxine Waters, we're going to say he's racist. If he doesn't like Hillary Clinton, we're going to say he's sexist. If he wants to put up a travel ban in countries where what he's saying is exactly right, we don't know what's going on because so many people are funding weapons. We're funding, they're funding, they're funding, they're fighting them, they're fighting them. Hey, maybe it's a good idea to not bring people in for a year. I mean, of course, the logical, honest person would say, yeah, that might not be a terrible idea. But the CNN, they do reality show coverage. So everything's a big reality show. They covered, Stormy Daniels more than anything. That she's the new leader of the Democratic Party. Their leaders are so incompetent. Their adult leaders are so incompetent. Their three leaders now are Hillary Clinton, who keeps blaming everyone and dividing America even further. 16 and 14-year-old communist kids who literally, are either completely, groomed or just useful idiots. And children, I mean, when I was 16, I don't think I should have been the broadcaster of truth because I was 16. But, these are the leaders, these are the people that they've chosen. This is the broadcast that they've chosen. They're saying, listen to 16-year-old kids, they're your new leaders. Listen to a porn star who literally, she's on porn websites doing advertisements, just making as much money off this as she can. Why not? I mean, she's a porn star. No disrespect or offense, but it's like, yeah, cash in right now. Now's the time to cash in. If everyone's going to fawn over you, make that money, baby girl. Do your thing. So this is the broadcast that they do. Me, if I ran a news station, I'm not a complete, I'm not a liar. I'm not a gossiper. I'm certainly not a divider, and I'm not a user. I don't lie to people and make them depressed and then sell them pharmacy pills in the commercial. I don't do that. That's what all the television stations do, left and right leaning. I'm not that type of person, but they are. So that's what they give people, and then people eat it up like popcorn. And then they're like, they have the audacity to blame other people and blame Donald Trump and blame his presidency, say, it's a reality show. Your presidency is a reality show. First of all, the world is a reality show. You could think of the world kind of like South Park. They had a very accurate episode where there's aliens looking down at Earth like it's a reality show. And now the more things kind of play out, it's like, man, why is South Park better than the politicians and more honest than the news stations? You'll learn more and get more honesty from a, very vulgar comedy show than you'll get from the news. The news is not the news. It's opinions disguised as news. My friend who went to journalism school, I did as well, but I fell asleep a lot because they were boring me. He said they teach people that in school. They tell you that no news stations anymore, they're not actually news. They're opinion shows, but they put up the news ticker and they present it to you as news. So people think they're getting the news, but you're not. You're getting someone's opinion. And usually it's, one of the three mega corporations who own, why are the Parkland kids on Time Magazine? Well, who owns Time Magazine? Time Warner. What else does Time Warner own? CNN and 50 other companies. So, it's like people think these things just happen and they're like, oh, no, you're being programmed by a few companies who are literally mind controlling you to follow 15-year-old kids. It's bizarre, but anyway, I don't even want to get into that. You could look at the world, you could look at Donald Trump, you could look at the Earth, the reality show that is Earth. We are living in a reality show. We're all characters and we're all playing a role of some sort. You could look at it And there's a million different perspectives. I actually want to help people. I'm not about trashy gossip that doesn't matter. I'm not about bottom of the barrel entertainment, fake sloppy reality shows and all this gossip and drama and all this negativity and hating on everything. To me, that's like mentally ill newscasting. And that's why people have so many mental problems, because they watch these disturbed people like CNN and MSNBC and occasionally Fox or whoever, just doing bottom of the barrel, disgusting type analysis. And then they're selling all these pharmacy pills and lawyers in the commercials. What type of effect do you think that has on society? And then you have a bunch of musicians and rappers and, artists and all genres with a disgusting, message of like pure depression. And you wonder why all the kids want to kill themselves. Well, they're listening to rappers who pretty much tell them to kill themselves. But, let's not talk about that. It's not time for that now. But there's a million different ways you could break down the world. Is Donald Trump's presidency more of a reality show? It's definitely different. But the difference is not so much what he's doing, definitely a little bit of what he's saying. He definitely doesn't cover himself PR-wise, but spoiler alert, I don't think he cares. It's a crazy concept of people that there's some people on this earth who don't care what people think and say. They actually care about what happens, and they actually care about actions. To me, it's a no-brainer. I could care less about what people say. I could care less about what people think. I want the truth. I want to actually do good. I don't care what Mary and Jenny and Susie say in the corner. I care about what's true. If what they're saying is true, then sure. If it's not, it's not. But how important is it? What are our priorities? Our priorities as a society are so disgustingly skewed. We are so dumbed down that people prioritize the dumbest things and then blame Donald Trump. Well, what about the scam? Like, he didn't hug Melania off the plane. It's like there's kids being murdered in other countries because there's extremist terrorists who are getting funded by your taxpayer dollars. Isn't that the big scoop? It could be. If I ran the news networks, that would be the reality show. And then everyone would be like, oh my God, Trump's America's a reality show. The world's a reality show. It's a scary reality show where kids are dying. But in their one, it's like, oh, it's a reality show where he's having consensual sex 15 years ago. And, it's so crazy that he's firing people from the FBI and people are resigning. Who could really want the intelligence communities to be shaken up besides JFK? And look what happened to JFK. I mean, who else would want the blunt truth? I mean, I love to be showered in lies, and I prioritize words and actions and funny tweets over like what actually happened. So is that really the president's fault? I would say it was a blatant no. I was on a debate panel, like I said, this weekend. It's going to come out soon, but it was Trump's America. And I told people I didn't vote for him. I come from a activist type background. I'm not your standard conservative, but actions matter more than words. And everything that they were saying to me, it's going to be outlandish. I said some wild stuff. I went too savage. Scared the audience a little. But all they were like, he's not presidential. He doesn't portray himself. But I was like, what about millions of people getting slaughtered and wars and weapons and funding terrorists and, education going down, healthcare going down, all these things well, he doesn't present himself right. So I was like, sir, are you admitting to me that you're more concerned on his appearance than you are of literal reality? So you're more concerned on the fake reality television show. That doesn't matter how he's dressed, what he's wearing, what his wife's doing, who he's having sex with. You care about that more than like people's lives and war and poverty and all these things that actually matter. And they're like, well, yeah, it's just not president. And I'm like, so you're just admitting that to me. So that's what I see when I see people that say it's a reality show. Is there some goofy, crazy stuff? Absolutely. It's the wildest presidency ever. Is it a reality show? No. You're buying into Kardashian, watered-down, reality-style television that CNN's selling you because they don't know what else to do, and that they're probably making a killing off of you. Honestly, they're probably selling more pills. They're probably selling more lawyers. They're probably selling more horrible, trashy food. United States, best country in the world, but we have some of the worst meat. Talk to somebody from Argentina or somebody from Lebanon. They'll laugh at, our meat. It's disgusting. But, we don't notice because we're too busy watching Stormy Daniels. And, oh, that's the big scoop is his words matter more than literal things that are actually really happening. Like, no, they don't. If someone says something, what they say doesn't matter. What actually happens matters. I thought that was like a universal concept. It's like, what's more important? The gossip, the opinion, the perspective, or like physical reality and like literal things that affect millions of people, billions of people. But apparently there's some people who don't like Trump who are so comfortable to literally just tell me and say, his presentation, he's just not presidential. I mean, it's just not right to me. I can't accept that it's crazy. I'd rather have a stable lie. I'd rather have somebody lying to my face, starting wars, funding terrorists, declining education, destroying the country, lying. But that's better. And people will openly admit that like that's an okay, normal thing to say because they've been so programmed in this sheep-like mentality culture that they just assume that everyone feels that way. And a lot of people do, a lot of people eat into it. So it's like the sheep-like, well, I'm in a crowd of sheep. So like if everyone feels this way, it's the right thing to do. Well, is it? I don't know. I mean, sometimes the majority lies. Sometimes the majority's right. Just don't be a follower, find out what's really true. If you're trying to help people, like if you're not, who am I to tell you how to live? I don't really mind, mind your own business, do your work. I'm the least judgmental person. I don't hate anyone. I'm not mad at anybody. But if you're going to pose as an activist and say, I'm better than you are, I'm less racist than you are, I know the better president, he's not the better president, I elect better presidents, but then you're a complete useless pawn and you don't know anything and you're being lied to constantly by CNN and just, bathing in this fake reality show content, I would say, it's up to everyone's interpretation and perspective, but I would say it's not President Trump's fault. It's not the White House's fault. It's not necessarily a horrible thing that he's firing people and shaking up the barrel. I think people needed to be shaken up a little bit because people are sleeping as everything's declining, as all these wars are starting and there's a lot of people being affected domestically and foreignly. I think maybe maybe you should pay attention. Maybe you needed a wake-up call, even if you don't like Donald Trump. Maybe that's a good thing. But just simply hating him and thinking that he created a reality show. If I wrote the reality show, if I own CNN or I own MSNBC, I could tell you a very different story that's much realer than what you're saying. 50 times as evil and dark and captivating, like a sci-fi movie that everyone loves. It's just they're choosing to tell you that reality show. So I think that gets really lost in translation. It's the people that are buying into this tabloid style. CNN is basically equivalent to the trashy magazine that you buy for $1 when you're checking out at the grocery store. I mean, that's what they've become. So I don't really think it's the president's fault that you're digesting that type of information. Because even there's people on the left, like Abby Martin or, Julian Assange, who now people on the left don't even like Julian Assange. He was the darling of the left, but now when the truth doesn't go in their favor, they think he's Russian enemy number one. But, Abby Martin, Julian Assange, deep divers on the left who I might not agree with policy-wise all the time, but at least they're talking about something. They'll tell you, hey, there's these wars going on, buddy. Like, Trump's not helping that much either. He's not doing enough. He's installing warmongers. And I respect somebody who follows those. I have a lot of, friends in that realm. And I respect that because it's like we might not agree policy-wise. They might not appreciate Donald Trump as much as I do. But at least they're not complete brainwashed, zombies who think that the United States is a reality show. Like, they're concerned with actual things that matter. And the crowd that thinks that the U.S. is a reality show, they're tuned into something that is so dumb, that is so trashy, and they have the audacity to then blame the president and blame other people for not, bathing in this trashy, terrible, disgusting, negative, inaccurate, unhelpful perspective of this presidency that not only is just bottom of the barrel trashy, but it's completely unhelpful to anybody. It's not going to help inner city people. It's not going to help poverty, people in poverty in any state, city, country, any race, religion, gender, any, especially the billions of people who don't have clean water that nobody ever, talks about. They want to say, you're privileged, but it's like, well, do you have running water? Then you're more privileged than 80% of America. But you don't want to talk about that privilege because it doesn't fit into your, your little agenda or the little box you've cut. So it's like everyone wants to use these words. I'm progressive. I own progress. I own perspective. I own privilege. But it's like no one wants to dive deep into the actual meanings of the words. Nobody wants to be grateful anymore. Nobody wants to be appreciative. I've always been very appreciative, and more now than ever that you have a president who's really shaking stuff up. I'm very appreciative because I know that there were puppet presidents who were lulling people to sleep. But apparently millions of people love to be lulled to sleep. Lie to me, use my taxpayer dollars to kill people. That's totally cool. Just don't tell me about it. That's the whole vibe. Trump's a reality show because he's waking me up to the reality of what really might be going on in the world. And I'd rather not hear about it. So shame on him for actually trying to make a difference. Because that's what's happening. I mean, policy-wise, regardless, is he a little feisty? Does he potentially make mistakes and stuff? Totally. I'm not saying he's perfect. That's why I say with every live stream, I could just totally be like, go Trump, MAGA, wear a red hat, and, make everyone upset. It's just not the route I chose to go. I always tell people, try to make it more digestible, because I don't care if you like Trump. I really don't. Like, it's the people who don't like him who are like, if you like Donald Trump, if you're not brainwashed like me, if you're not mind controlled by reality show television, I don't accept you as a human being. You're like, whoa, I don't care if you don't like him, but I don't approve with that type of mentality. That's disgusting. You are everything that you're trying to stop. You're the judgmental, racist, sexist, xenophobic, negative person that you're, change yourself to change the world. So if you can't even accept others, how are you going to be mad at conservatives and Republicans for not accepting others more? You're doing the same thing as them. The fringe sides on both, they remind me of each other. And in some cases, they say the same exact things. They just don't know it. So is Donald Trump the reality show president? I would say no. I would say the difference now is he making it more interesting? Totally. But are the newscasts and the news companies that say that this is this crazy reality show that's so bad and it's so scandalous, these are the same news companies that were literal PR teams, public relations teams, cover-uppers, and the accomplices in some of the worst crimes of the 21st century. That is what they were doing. The past 10 years, they could have told you about the reality show that was happening, but instead, they decided to ally with some of the most disgusting forces this country and the world has seen in the modern generation and not tell you about it. And same with now. Their narrative is Trump is the worst thing ever. This is a Disney movie. Hillary Clinton is, Ariel. Trump is Ursula, or, Hillary Clinton's Jasmine. Trump is, Jafar. I'm totally probably messing up these names. I haven't watched Disney movies in a while. But that's not the real reality show. That's not actual reality like what's happening on Earth. That's the lie that you've bought into. And then you get mad at me and Trump for saying, no, you're believing a fake script. You're reading a lie. A Disney show character, they made him the villain. They made the villains the hero. So they made the hero the villain, the villain's the hero. And they just nonstop, the tech companies, Facebook, Apple, Twitter, I don't know if they are useful, confused, emotional people who don't know what they're doing. Part of me, the more that I talk to people and stuff, I'm like, part of me, maybe they know what they're doing. Maybe they know what they're doing and they just don't care. I can't tell you that, still to be continued, but that narrative of enemy, villain, they've lied to you. And in some cases, they've completely inverted the truth, where the people that you think are the heroes are horrible people. And the people that you think are the villains are actually doing you justice and doing the world justice in a very weird way, And that's just what it is. So it's not a bad thing to fire people and shake people up. That means, guess what? People have to be held accountable. I thought it was common knowledge in Washington that no one was doing anything. I mean, before Trump, who was the Secretary of State? It was Hillary. She was probably a little more famous. But Who was the Department of Education? Who owned this? Nobody knew and nobody cared. So no one was paying attention to anybody, and they weren't doing anything. There's no motivation to do anything because they get voted in. No one pays attention. They can literally take money from any foreign country, from any company, and no one cared. You know, President Trump and Bernie Sanders were two people that brought to the forefront all of these people are getting paid out. So now that's a new thing. It's like, oh, you're getting paid by the pharmacy industry. Oh, you're getting paid by Raytheon, who, makes weapons. Oh, you're getting paid by the military industrial complex. Oh, you're getting paid by Wall Street. 2 years ago, no one cared. So the shakeup is the fact that people are getting fired. That means people actually have to do their jobs or they're going to get fired. That means that there's scrutiny on people to actually perform. So it's like they twist everything in the most pessimistic, negative manner. And I thought it was common knowledge that even if you don't like Trump, like I said, I have a lot of friends who don't like Trump, but at least they know that Washington was not perfect before then. And they can see the good things in what he's doing. They're just not satisfied or it doesn't fall into the realm of what they want. But they know that it wasn't peaches and cream in Washington before. The crowd that thinks it's the reality show, that thinks Trump is this reality, he's so bad and crazy and weird. These are people who literally think it was better before and that it was completely fine and they just want to go back to normality. These are some of the most, I'm not going to say worst people because I don't like to look down on people. I don't like to hate. But they're so unhelpful, they don't even know it. They want to go back to a time when people were doing the foulest of things, but no one was paying attention. And they'll almost admit that to you. Most people, either they don't know and they'll run away, or they'll just admit to you, which makes it even worse to me, because if you don't know what you're doing, it's like, I'll give you the pass. Maybe you don't know how harmful what you're doing is, but they'll tell you, no, I know that, I don't care, let people get slaughtered, let our country go over to Libya, and even though there was an African leader making progress and giving health care and homes to all the people, and we slaughtered them, and now there's slavery there, I don't want to hear about it, just don't tell me about it. Like, that's disgusting to me, And like I said, I was on a panel, and like people were just admitting that to me, and I'm like, are you listening to yourself? Are people listening? Am I the bad guy here? I don't know. Probably everyone's like, oh, this guy's crazy. I went full savage, but I'm like, are you admitting to me that you don't care about any of that? You'd rather be lied to and let that happen in the dusk? And some people are like, yeah. And some people just don't know about it. I think it's a mixed bag, but it's not a reality show now. It's a reality show script on certain news networks, and very low-level people are buying into it. And I don't say low-level as a diss. I say it as motivation. Level up. If you really want to help women and children and help the world and stop war and stop poverty and stop healthcare, you have to understand that President Trump did not create every problem. That is the reality show. That is the fake script. The fake script is that Trump is the pinnacle of bad. And as soon as you remove Trump, that things are going to be perfect. That is the biggest lie on the American people in the last 2 years. That is the biggest lie. And there's a lot of huge lies. The Russia collusion lie is a major lie. The fact that, all the other politicians were sold out to foreign countries and got direct donations to them, but them framing Trump is the biggest lie. But perhaps the biggest lie of them all is that Trump is the pinnacle of bad, and when he gets out of Washington or when he goes away, that everything's going to be good again. That's the biggest lie perpetrated on the American people, and it's just disgusting to me and upsetting to me that people really believe that, because it's totally not true. Our education has been failing. Our healthcare is terrible. Our education is 16th or 17th. Our healthcare might be not even top 30. And these are, if you're the best country in the world, education and health, two very important things, didn't start with President Trump. Okay, I don't know if Betsy DeVos is going to do a better job. I don't know if Trump's healthcare is going to be better, but I do know it doesn't have the mandatory mandate where they basically steal your money, so that's a positive. I know that for a fact, but I don't know if it's going to be better or worse for the overall but what I can tell you for sure is that it wasn't just okay before. Just because you weren't paying attention, just because people were lying to you and the televisions told you everything was okay while they were literally fueling extremists in the Middle East, that's the real reality show. That's the show that they don't want to tell you about because it doesn't go in their favor. So, is Trump the reality show president? No. He's not. He's exciting, he's interesting, he's crazy, but he's not the big scoop That's the distraction. That's the shiny object. You thinking that this presidency is an episode of the Kardashians. Because if I ran the press, I could have made the Obama, White House a Kardashian episode. But they didn't allow that to happen. I'm not saying I would have wanted it either. I don't care if it's Bill Clinton, Obama, George Bush. I don't care about this little gossip. It doesn't matter. Just like I don't care when people are gossiping back and forth. Oh, did you hear what she did? Oh, when I hear that, I hear, oh, that weakness. You're mad at yourself. You could talk a little bit. Everybody talks. Everybody gossips a little. I'm not hating on that. We all have something to say and we all have opinions. But at the end of the day, you got to know one thing, which I know. It doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. If I say, oh, you can't do that, you can't go and be successful, and then you go and be successful, guess what matters? The fact that you were successful, I've been wrong about certain things, and guess what? I don't care. I'm like, good, congratulations. I'm glad things went well. I was wrong, and it doesn't. My opinion, I never thought it mattered in the first place. It's just, an analysis based on the materials I have. So opinions don't matter. Gossips don't matter. I don't care who the president is. Even if it was someone I hated, I don't want to hear about the gossip. That doesn't matter. Sexual stuff doesn't matter. I don't care. It's not, especially when you're talking about a world scare, you're talking about world, the universe and all these things involved. That doesn't matter. And the irony, before I leave, is that the same people that think that anybody who voted for Donald Trump or anybody who supports Donald Trump, they think you're racist, sexist, xenophobic. I can't even talk to you if you like Donald Trump. I won't even do this if you like Donald Trump. These are the same people that wanted Bill Clinton to go back into the White House. And I'm not even hating on that. I don't know their relationship. I don't know if it was, consensual or not. I don't care that Bill Clinton, did that in the White House or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. As far as like on the scale of everything going on, it's very low. Unless it was like literal rape, then yeah, that becomes a way bigger deal if it's not consensual. However, I don't even care about that, but the irony is, it's like, if you don't put Bill Clinton back in the White House, you're a racist, sexist, xenophobe. It's like, what? It's like, maybe that's the one person who gives Donald Trump a run for his money for like scandalous and stuff, but it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I can't, I wish I could lie and pretend like it did, and I can go out and just gossip with everybody and just make up stuff, but I can't. Isn't that funny though? Is that not hilarious that the same people who think you're racist, sexist, and xenophobic for supporting President Trump, they wanted Bill Clinton in the White House really, really bad. And if you don't want Bill Clinton in the White House, you're a terrible sexual deviant or something. I don't even, it's just so, the narrative is just so far gone. It's just mind-blowing to me that people still believe it. And it's one of those things that it's like, maybe the powers that be, maybe they're like experimenting. They're like, let's see how dumb we can make these people. Because people have got dumbed down, dumbed down, dumbed down. Are we the dumbest people ever? I don't know. Read Thomas Jefferson. Read Booker T. Washington. You know what I'm saying? Read people from history, whether it's 100 years ago, 200 years ago. They're 1,000 times smarter than anybody that I've talked to. They're more eloquent. They know how, they have good vocabulary. Not only do they have good vocabulary, they're actually saying something with a good vocabulary. Nowadays, you have pseudo-intellectual people who just use big words all the time, and they're like, blah, 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 big word, big word, big word. But yeah, it doesn't, what are you saying with it though? You're just, okay, wow, you have a big vocabulary, so do I. But just because I write 7, 3-syllable words in a sentence, it doesn't mean what I'm saying is intelligent. It's the difference between pseudo-intellect and real intellect. But that's what people do nowadays. But you read Booker T, or you read Thomas Jefferson, you read George Washington, you're like, wow, these guys are smarter than 99.9% of people that I've ever experienced. And they're smarter than all my teachers, and they're smarter than every kid I've ever met. So it's like, what happened in these 300 years? Maybe they're just trying to dumb us down. They're like, man, dude, we got people, they're marching in the streets to take their own rights away. They're marching, even though most crimes are committed with illegal guns, and, we're probably committing the mass shootings. It's like every single one. It's like, oh, look who his dad is. Oh, look who they're affiliated with. Oh, Vegas, nah, we'll not talk about it. Everyone will forget about it. It's like, dude, they're marching in the streets, blaming the NRA. They think it's Russia. There's thousands of them out there. They're Stormy Daniels, the #1 television show. They're probably cracking up. They're like, these people will believe anything. They could literally just put like a face on a corn dog and put it on CNN, and it'll be the leader of the Democratic Party in a week. I mean, you have a porn star, not even like Jenna Jameson, who's actually very intelligent. Follow Jenna Jameson on Twitter and tell her that I sent you. It doesn't matter, but just a little side note. But a porn star and 15-year-old communist kids, and I'm not saying that as a mean thing, like they're just literally, I think they want communism, as a lot of kids do. When I was 15, I wasn't a communist, but I was, not the brightest tool in the shed. But those are the leaders of the party. You can't make this stuff up. They're failing. They can't push their agenda. Nobody believes them. They have the weakest, lamest leaders. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton are just like, unbearable creatures that nobody wants to listen to. So they're like, who's better? Who can we get? Who can we get? A porn star from 20 years ago? Okay, yeah, she's the new leader. Let's get her on CNN. She's got the #1 ratings. And 15-year-old kids. You can't make this stuff up. It's like that. This is my reality television show. You think the White House is a reality show. Watching the public just get sheeped along into any direction. Ooh, let's march for this. Let's march for that. Let's believe this with no relevant evidence. Let's believe that. People will believe anything that CNN tells them. And the tech companies and Facebook, that's my reality show. I'm looking at you guys like, whoa. And I'm not even mad anymore. I'm having a good time with it. It used to bother me. Now I'm just cracking up. I'm walking the streets with thousands of people just literally marching around like zombies, and I have a big smile on my face. I'm enjoying myself. Good people, good energy, lots of arts and crafts, lots of very creative signs. I'm having a good time. It's like a party, a less fun party. But that's my reality show. I don't know. Is that not what's happening? That's what I wish they'd put on CNN. I could, chop up a clip, maybe me and Fleckus doing editing. We could make a whole South Park television show, and that would be hilarious, and it would be realer than the fake reality shows that they show you. I could do a real reality show that's not scripted and fake filmed, and they reshoot scenes that never happened. I mean, all the reality shows are so fake, but I mean that's the reality that I see. And it's just, I don't know. I guess people think the big scoop is like, oh, people are getting fired, and now people in Washington are being held accountable, and they actually have to do their job. And if they make a mistake and they do something illegal, they get fired. Whoa. Or if, they have someone who can do a better job, we'll employ him. Whoa, what a crazy scandal. Whoa, it's such a mess in the White House. Man, I prefer it when it was just steady and firm, and they were prosecuting journalists and passing the NDAA Act that, made legal propaganda. And I wish, they were starting the Iraq War and starting the Syria War and killing the leader of Libya, and I wasn't paying attention, and, putting on a individual mandate on healthcare that basically forced you into a, socialist-style healthcare where you're mandatory forced to pay $300 a month, and then you pay regardless of what happens unless you literally, get in a car accident like President Trump said. But let's forget about all that stuff. Education's declining, people are getting number. That's all good, That's not the big scoop. It's just like, whoa, President Trump told me the truth in a more entertaining manner than other politicians. Whoa! Oh my God, he's funny and has a personality, and he's better on Twitter than most teenagers. Whoa! Oh my goodness, he fired somebody and made a joke that made me laugh instead of lying to me and, making me cry. I don't know. It's just, to me, I just don't think it's a reality show. The real reality is in Yemen. The real reality is in Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan and the United States. The real reality, when I talk to people, they don't sound anything like the people on television, unless it's like the March people, where they get a nice tightly knit group of zombies who believe everything the CNN says and just regurgitate talking points that don't exist in real reality. But it's just not the truth. And there's really not that many people. There are a lot, don't get me wrong, but there's tens of millions of people upon hundreds of millions of people who don't feel that way, but they're not on Twitter, they're not on Instagram, they might not be on Facebook, they're not marching in the streets, they're not telling everybody their opinions, they're not making signs, they're just shutting the F up, doing their life, and looking at these zombies like, what are you guys doing? So just to wrap it up, is this a reality show president? The ways that it is, to be honest, well, he was on a reality show, The Apprentice, but in all fairness, it was an entrepreneur business reality show that launched shows like Shark Tank, and a bunch of people have copied his, his blueprint, and then ironically, now they're all mad at him. Mark Cuban's like, oh, I copied your show, and now I'm so mad at you. How mad could you be? You literally copied the whole blueprint of The Apprentice, and, rose to television success because of it. So how mad can you be at your father? So he did do reality, and that way, yes, it's a reality show president, but it wasn't a trashy reality show. It was an intelligent, thought-provoking, and inspiring to me, reality show. But is it crazier? Yeah, totally. Is there more stuff going on? Absolutely. Is he funnier and more loose? Is he a loose cannon? Absolutely. In those ways, yes, it is a reality show, but a reality show presidency. But is it what CNN's saying? And is it a reality show because of why you think it is? Because of all these firings? No, that's like somebody who has no, perspective on the world and thinks that Trump is the beginning and end to all the bad stuff in the world, and it's totally not true. So in a way, you could say it is like a reality show, but the script, you're being lied to about it. So at least if you want to get real reality, you have to realize that it's not the script they're telling you. That's the distracto script, so you don't pay attention to everything, and that you literally believe. Like the people in the street, the NRA are terrorists. Like, what are you even talking about? They've never even committed a crime. They're literally putting them up there with ISIS and Al-Qaeda and, other terrorists I won't even name that basically fund them. But it's like, what? Like, what in the world reality show are you watching? Because they're not telling you any sense of the truth. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm going to post my links below. If you'd like to support, I'll post my donation link. At bare minimum, please sign up to my free email list. It's free. It takes like 10 seconds to sign up. But Facebook's weird. They're, stealing everyone's data. But I've known that for 10 years. But it's the big scoop. So just in case something happens here, we can stay connected. I can get your email. I won't sell them out, and I won't advertise to you other people's stuff, whatever. Email list. Donation link if you'd like to support is completely fueled by the people. I'll also probably post some of my social media links. Check out on my page, I did one with Fleckas. I filmed and I'm in a few of it. It's on his YouTube. It's crushing right now. We went to the march. We spoke to people. Really cool people. A lot of good people. A lot of good discussion. It's a great video. It was on Drudge Report too. We're pretty happy about that. So check that out. And tomorrow I'll probably upload separate. I was on CNN Espanol. That's pretty funny. So that's what we got going on. I'll see you later this week. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. And God bless the entire world. Thank you.